Everyone pictures the same thing: rolling acreage, cattle grazing under a big sky, coffee on the porch at sunrise. That's the fantasy real estate photos sell. What they don't show is the burned-out well pump, the washed-out fence line, the hay bill that lands the same week cattle prices crash, and the fact that plenty of owners haven't turned a real profit in years because every dollar earned gets poured straight back into the land. Ranching looks like freedom from the outside. From the inside, it's a business where income shows up once or twice a year, expenses show up daily, and the biggest variable of all, weather, answers to nobody.
Part 1.
Not all ranches are the same business. Ranch covers wildly different operations that just happen to sit on land: cattle, sheep, horses, bison, hunting leases, guest ranches selling an experience, and luxury recreational properties that barely produce anything and exist mainly for tax benefits and prestige. A boutique guest ranch in the Texas Hill Country and a commodity cattle operation in Montana share a word, not a business model. This breakdown focuses on the classic cattle ranch, since it's the most common and has the most financial moving parts. Part 2. Land. Cheap isn't cheap. Land is the single biggest cost, and prices vary enormously. National average pastureland runs around $1,900 per acre, but that hides huge swings. Roughly $1,000 per acre in Wyoming, under $700 per acre in far west Texas, versus $7,000 to $30,000 per acre in the Texas Hill Country and $15,000 to $50,000 per acre near Colorado's Front Range. In those pricier markets, you're paying for scenery and proximity to wealthy buyers, not grass. A serious operation needs 200, 500 plus cows. In arid Wyoming, where each cow may need 20 to 30 acres, running 500 head could require 10,000 to 15,000 acres, $10 to $15 million in land alone before a single fence post goes up. Here's the trap. Cheap land is usually cheap for a reason. Sparse grass means each cow needs more acreage. Brutal winters mean months of expensive hay feeding, and remote locations mean costly hauling to suppliers and auctions. Pricier land with denser grass and longer growing seasons often costs less to operate per animal, even though the purchase price is steeper. Part 3. Infrastructure. The hidden bill. Buying the land just gets you an expensive piece of dirt. Making it functional costs far more. Fencing * roughly $8,000 to $13,000 per mile. A 15,000-acre ranch might have 60 to 80 miles of perimeter alone, plus interior cross-fencing, easily $300,000 to $600,000 total. Water * wells cost $8,000 to $25,000 each to drill and equip, plus power and miles of buried pipe to troughs. Budget another $50,000 to $100,000. Working facilities * steel corrals run $15,000 to $50,000, plus $10,000 to $15,000 for a hydraulic squeeze chute to safely handle animals. Storage and support * hay barns run $40,000 to $150,000, plus worker housing, equipment sheds, and gravel roads. All told, a raw property can need $500,000 to over $1 million in infrastructure before it can support any livestock. Money with no immediate return. Part 4. Livestock. An asset that eats. A pregnant commercial cow typically costs $2,000 to $3,500, though 2025's record calf prices have pushed values up sharply. Building a 500-cow herd runs roughly $1 to $1.5 million. Add bulls, about 1 per 25 to 30 cows, so 17 to 20 head for 500 cows, at $3,500 to $5,000 for basic genetics or $10,000 to $50,000 plus for proven, high-performance bloodlines. Better genetics mean faster gaining, higher grading calves, which can add $50 to $100 per animal at sale, real money across hundreds of calves a year. But bulls get hurt or sick, and a $35,000 animal can be gone overnight with no warranty. All-in livestock costs for a 500-cow operation run $1.2 to $2 million, and unlike warehouse inventory, this inventory breathes, gets sick, and sometimes just disappears.
Part 5. Equipment.
The fleet that never stops breaking. A functioning ranch needs at least 2 tractors, $60,000 to $120,000 each new, a hay baler, $25,000 to $40,000, heavy-duty trucks, $55,000 to $85,000 each, livestock trailers, $20,000 to $45,000, plus UTVs and fuel storage. Financing $200,000 of new equipment can mean $36,000 to $48,000 a year in payments alone, often the line between profit and loss on a mid-sized operation. Experienced ranchers size equipment to their actual herd rather than buying everything new. Part 6. The revenue model. The basic cycle. A cow carries a calf for 9 months, nurses at 6 to 8 months, and you sell the weaned calf at 500 to 600 pounds. In 2025's strong market, steer calves ranged roughly $335 to $480 per hundredweight through the year, meaning a 550-pound calf might sell for $2,400 to $2,600. Run the numbers on 500 cows. At a strong 90% calving rate, you wean about 450 calves. At an average net price around $2,200 per head, blending steers and slightly discounted heifers, that's roughly $1 million in gross revenue. Against that, total costs feed, vet, labor, fuel, taxes, insurance, depreciation typically run $900,000 to $1.1 million for an operation this size. Net profit in a good year, somewhere between $0 and $100,000 on an initial investment of $7 to $12 million in land, infrastructure, and cattle. That's a cash return of roughly 0 to 1.4%, worse than a basic savings account. And that scenario assumes everything goes right, a 90% calving rate, strong prices, a normal winter. None of that is guaranteed. The 2025 U.S. cattle herd fell to its lowest level since the early 1950s, the result of years of drought, high costs, and ranchers being forced to sell off cattle they couldn't afford to feed rather than grow their herds. Drought reliably hits ranch finances hardest of all. Grass stops growing early, hay is to be bought sooner, and with everyone competing for the same limited hay supply, prices spike right when ranchers can least afford it. The bottom line: ranching can build long-term land wealth, but the annual cash economics are thin, weather-dependent, and unforgiving. A business where the picture on the postcard and the numbers in the ledger rarely match.